here we are with a JS550 engine. So I got this key for free, and look what it is. It's basically trash, been water in there and stuff like that. There was no water in the cylinders, but water did get into the stator side and the flywheel. So as you can see, it is pretty nasty and corroded. But other than that, I was able to take this flywheel off. So the way I got it off was I had this puller just like that. Put some impact on there, just like this, and let it sit. Put some oil all around here, and then I gave it very light heat, and then I grabbed this big old mallet. Right here, it's a 2-pounder, I think, maybe a 5-pounder. And then I tapped the top of the flywheel puller, and that thing just popped right off. Super easy. And taking off the cylinder, since these things get kind of seized up inside the cylinder, the studs, and I put oil on top right here where the studs protrude, and heated them up, and you can see the oil just starts going down. Basically it liquefies it more, and yeah, it all went down. So my main thing now is popping off the stator and checking out the seal, and see how it is. Doesn't look too bad, doesn't look too good, so we'll probably end up splitting it, replacing it, and if not, we'll just send it, see how it goes. Since we are here, might as well replace it. So I'll find some and replace it. One thing I noticed, this thing fell off, which goes on the inside right here, underneath. So right there. And yeah, it just basically popped right off. So we'll have to make sure we run some sealer in here, some kind of gasket sealer or something like that. Make sure we caulk it up good, because if not, we'll be getting water and stuff and corrosion into the threads, and then we will break a bolt in there for sure. But other than that, let's keep on moving with this thing, see what else we can do. Not sure what the project is gonna lead to. It's just gonna be try to see if this thing will run. If it runs, it runs, but we don't know where this engine is gonna go into and what I wanna do with it yet. But other than that, I just wanted to get into this engine and get it out of my hair, and yeah, try to get it going. Alrighty guys, also the pistons look really good, no scarring, no nothing, just really dirty, but I did put a lot of oil in there, and the cylinders are nice and smooth, so we'll just hit it with a hone and yeah, just clean it up and make sure everything's good to go, and we'll start assembling this thing and see if we can drop it into something. Let's go. Alrighty guys, as you can tell, this is the JS550 engine, and it's pretty much all put together. The cylinders have been put back together and cleaned out, so there's no damage on the insides. Everything looked clean inside. We just did a thorough clean and washed it all out, and these seals look like they're still pretty good. I didn't go ahead and rebuild it. This is something I'm just gonna put back on the burner. Not sure if I'm gonna put it in a ski yet or not, so I didn't want to do anything like that. Anyways, creating a lot of compression, so that's good. And yeah, everything else is pretty much there. We got the cylinder head on, and we are running an aftermarket head, so I'm not sure what it is or how much compression it's gonna be. Plus we have a copper head gasket on there. Can't remember the exact thickness right now, but I got it written down. But we should be creating a little bit more than 120 PSI, I'm hoping. So I think 120 is stock, because this is the original one that came off and she's pretty thick. But other than that, yeah, we're just gonna start slapping things back on. And as you've seen, the flywheel, so we cleaned it up, smoothened everything out, made sure everything's good. We lapped it on the crankshaft, and she's good to go now. So we're gonna start assembling the stator on and make sure everything's back together the way we want it. And we'll start slapping it all back together as best as we could, and hopefully we can hear this run someday. But for now, just want to assemble it, put all the parts back, block these ports off, and hopefully in the next project we start or want to install this in, and we will be able to run it. So let's go, guys. Stay tuned. Let's go. Alrighty guys, I got the stator, everything put back on, put in the cover, missing that seal. So we will just bolt it back on for now, let it be the way it is. But yeah, got the box of stuff out from the top, and now we're just putting it back together. We got this Mikuni, or it's a Kian carburetor. We'll have to check it out what's on there, but for now we'll just mount it on it, and we'll just let it be the way it is to just block all the passages and just keep all the parts together. And other than that, let's start slapping everything back. Let's go into time lapse. Alrighty guys, so check it out, the carburetor's all on, good to go, looking fire. So now we gotta go on the exhaust side and throw at least that part of it. This is not the original piece that's off of it. This is, I believe, even from an older model possibly, but we don't know for sure. But we'll go ahead and slap it on. Let's go. Alrighty guys, as you can tell, this engine is completely put back together, well, for the most part, and we are missing the starter inside there, so it's just right here. We need to do a little rebuild, make sure it's good before we slap it on there. But the exhaust and everything's pretty much mounted. We're missing one of the long screws that go right there, so we'll have to acquire that one somehow. We need to get some good acorn nuts, bolts, or the nuts for the top of this cylinder. These are just temporary for right now. Other than that, you need to find one of those right there that goes, and everything else is pretty much good to go, and it's buttoned up, and it's, you know, ready to get tested. Make sure it's got spark. The stator ohmed out to be pretty good, so I hope it's gonna be good, but these 550s constantly have problems with them stators if they get wet and stuff like that. But other than that, we should be good to go, and hopefully we will, you know, try it out, test it out. Still not sure about this exhaust. I have a different bread box, the newer style, or I guess like the 90s or from 85, and might slap that one on, but we're not sure just yet. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys like this video. This thing will be ripping shortly, and this starter will go on there, and hopefully we'll find a spot this thing will go into. I know this carburetor will have to get tuned and stuff, and we'll go from there and see how it goes. Let's go. Alrighty guys, so as you can tell, we're back with this JS550, and this was the engine that was sitting like an elf on a shelf, and now this thing's gonna go into this little beater ski. Basically, this hole has been this way for a long time, and I received it like this. The only thing I've done is put the motor back in together, cleaned it up, freshed it up, and cleaned up all the wiring, cleaned up everything, washed it inside somewhat, and threw a gas tank in there, fixed this fill neck somewhat, and it did have some body damage, some right here, had a little crack right here, so we kind of patched it up just to see what we can get out of this thing. Had to bolt this pole together, it was all taken apart, and got to fix this throttle right here, so we'll probably machine something crazy out of it, or make something. And we have a little spring in there. Surprisingly, it's actually pretty good, and actually helps out. So we do still need to put this tube right here. We're doing a delete, so we're not gonna put that thing in there. Just gonna avoid that. And yeah, pretty much all there. It's an 85, but I do still have this exhaust on there, or the exhaust manifold. And we do have the other one, which is this one, which is supposedly a better one, but I ended up putting this one on because I was missing some bolts. I couldn't bolt that one up. But other than that, this should do for now. We'll see what's up. So we got some high compression head. I'm not sure what it is, some knockoff. Then we have a Klein 42 mil carb that we'll have to work a lot on it to make it work. And the jetting is off and stuff like that, but as you can tell, see that purple spacing, so it's been spaced out and everything. We got a prime kit, but none of this is all connected. All the fuel and stuff is not connected. And yeah, as you can tell, it's just, you know, beater. And we're just getting ready to make it run. I want to hear it fire up before I continue on with this thing. But other than that, let's go and try to get this thing fired up. Alrighty guys, so we got some spark on this puppy, so let's give it a shot. Alrighty guys, working on this JS550. It's got a Klein 42 carb, unknown head, and these are all the tools you need to work on a Kawasaki. But other than that, let's hear this thing rip. And I got my prime. See this thing squirt. Boom. Alrighty, she's good to go. Let's see if one will help. Alrighty guys, so here's the fuel prime right there. Got some fuel in there, so let's give it a cold start. Motor is nice and cold, so start it.